Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and it's always fun when I get to announce and share with you guys a new juicer that's now available on the market. So what we're going to do today is we're going to introduce the all-new Omega 8007 juicer. So as you guys know, Omega has been making the Omega 8004 and 8006 juicers for a long time, and they have been very popular. They're definitely some good sellers. And this is known as the fourth generation horizontal single auger style machine. The all-new 8007 and 8008 is the fifth generation single auger machine. So basically what Omega has done has taken this design and stepped it up a notch and made it that much better. So in this video, what we're going to do today is we're going to share with you guys the specific differences between the 8004 and the 8007. Now, I'm not picturing or showing you guys the Omega 8008 today, which is the same as the 8007, but only in the chrome color. So the 8007 is to the 8008, like the 8004 is to the 8006. I'll have a separate video showing the 8006 versus the 8008 in the future. So anyways, both these guys are horizontal single auger machines. So what does that mean? That means there's an auger in there that's spinning around, and as you drop produce into it, it chunks off or bites off a piece of the produce. It works it down the auger and literally crushes and squeezes the juice out. This happens at very low RPM, 80 RPMs actually on both machines. And I like that it's a low RPM because that does the least amount of damage or cause the least amount of oxidation to occur when juicing, as compared to some of the high-speed machines that may sound like an airplane taking off in your kitchen. So these specific machines are good and excel at juicing things that the high-speed juicers are not good at, such as the leafy greens and the wheatgrass. These machines are probably some of the best juicers on the entire market that I've tested that's going to get high yields from specifically leafy greens and wheatgrass. So what this means is that if you want to juice mostly wheatgrass and leafy greens, guess what? You're going to want to end up with one of these machines. If you want to juice, a whole bunch of carrots, and not a whole lot of leafy greens, you may want to look for another juicer. The high-speed juicers, while they do run fast, they do tend to make a little bit more higher yield on things like the hard vegetables, like the carrots and, apples, than these machines will. But on the flip side, what also that means is that these machines, while they don't make as much yield on the carrots and apples, and yes, these will also juice carrots and apples, these ones will make a lot higher nutrient quality. Some of the testing and data that I've seen suggests that these slow-running machines may create up to 50% more nutrition on some nutrients in the juice that they create. So for that reason, I definitely recommend the low RPM machines such as the Omega 8004 and the 8007 that I'm going to show you guys today. So that's how they work. That's the basics about them. I mean, these guys will pretty much juice anything you throw at it. And one of the things I like about these style machines is they have a relatively low learning curve. What is a learning curve? It's like when you got on a bicycle, with two wheels, and you might have to use training wheels at the first, or else if you fell over. These guys are really easy to use. Basically, you put the produce in, as long as it fits in the feed chute hole, you put it in. You don't have to really pay much attention to, feeding things at different times and pre-cutting things up. But what I like to recommend is that when you're juicing, you want to mix up the items and give the juicer a variety of different textures. So if you're juicing leafy greens, carrots, and apples, don't put all the leafy greens, all the carrots, all the apples. What you want to do is you want to put a piece of apple, a piece of leafy greens, and then a carrot. And then repeat, a piece of apple, a piece of leafy greens, and a piece of carrot. And repeat that process till you're all done. For further information on specific techniques for using on these machines, you want to check a video I did called Omega 8004 Common Questions and Answers, that I'll answer some common questions with these particular units. So I did mention while these will juice leafy greens the best, people always wonder, John, what about juicing fruits? What about juicing hard vegetables? What about juicing celery? What about juicing blah blah blah, because everybody wants to juice something a little bit different. To me, a juicer is like a pair of shoes. How many of you guys or girls own one pair of shoes and you wear it for everything, from running to going to the beach to going to weddings to going to this? I mean, maybe if you're a bum no offense to bums, and you have one pair of shoes and it has holes in it and that's all you own, you're going to wear that for everything. You know, I like to look at juicers the same way. You know, you could have a pair of shoes for going to a prom date or a nice fancy wedding, and then you can have a pair of shoes for going running in, and you're going to have different pairs of shoes. Juicers are the same way. You know, some juicers will juice some things better than others, and you know, that's just how it is. So I have a selection of juicers that I use, and I pick the one that's going to do best at the specific task that I'm doing at that time. And you guys might also want to do that, but you guys might be like that bum and pick the one juicer and just use it for everything, and then be forewarned, there will be compromises. There's always pros and cons to every machine, and that's why I have over 200 videos now on YouTube describing and comparing machines head to head so that you guys could pick out the best juicer that's right for you, because I don't know what that is. Only you're going to know that after you watch some of my videos and see and hear me explain and use the juicers and show you guys how they actually work. So once again, these machines are best at leafy greens. They will also juice fruits. They will also juice hard vegetables. They actually do quite a good job at celery. Now if you said, John, I want to juice like all fruits, are these the juicers for me? Probably not. These are not the juicers to juice mostly or all fruits. If you want to juice, you know, some fruits with vegetables and hard vegetables, yes. If you want to juice some hard vegetables with leafy green, yeah, you know, this would be a pretty good machine. You know, another thing about picking a juicer is you got to figure out the factors that are important to you. I know for me, if I don't have a juicer that's easy to clean, it's going to sit on the shelf and I'm not going to use it. I have juicers that actually sit on the shelf, I can see them right now, that I barely ever use unless I'm doing a juicing demonstration because it's a pain in the butt to clean. And you know, I want a juicer that's easy to clean, easy to use, and I'm happy to say that both these Omega juicers, the 8004 and the 8007, are some of the easiest juicers to clean in the world. If you can't handle cleaning these machines, then you probably shouldn't be juicing. So these machines take me about 1.5 minutes to clean. This one takes me 1.5 minutes. I haven't timed this one yet, but it's definitely under 2 minutes. For the most part, the parts are identical and the same to clean, so this cleaning time is not going to vary. I guess with that, let's go ahead and get into the differences between these machines. I guess the first difference is the look. So as you guys can see, this has more of a rounded look with the carry handle there. This has a nice little built-in carry handle right here. And a cool thing is, you know, this guy does have a larger footprint on the table. So imagine if you're a guy, you have a size 14 foot. I had a roommate in college, he had a 14 size foot because he was a tall dude. That's the footprint, how big your foot is. And, you know, with the Omega 8007, the footprint's smaller. So instead of a 14, we're probably looking at like a 11 or so, whereas the 8004 is a 14. So if you have a limited counter space, you know, you might want to go with the 8007. Now, is this good or bad? No, that's just a footprint, you know, and basically the power of the motors are identical and it's going to work the same. So that's just how much plastic housing there is. So next, let's talk about some of the different parts in the machine. First, we're going to talk about the pushers. So as you guys can see here, the pushers here are pretty much virtually identical. For all practical purposes, they're pretty much the same. Now what I want to tell you guys about the pushers is that you should only ever use the pushers to push produce in the machines. Don't use knives, forks, or anything else to put produce in the machine. If you do that, you will damage the machine. You know, I have had ex-girlfriends that have put knives and things into the machines and they broke augers, and it's not fun. When you break something on the juicer because of your negligence, it's not covered under warranty. We could talk about warranty also. If something happens to the juicer that's not your fault, like you're juicing a whole bunch of carrots or wheatgrass and the screen breaks, then it should probably be covered under warranty and you'll have to contact the manufacturer because of it. And I'm proud to say that both these machines have the longest warranty in the juicing industry. It's 15 years. So for me, I look at a warranty like I look at an investment, you know, and the investment that you're making when you're buying a juicer with a long warranty is yourself and your health. I got into juicing for my health. I turned my health around by including more fresh fruit and vegetable juices, and more importantly, including more fresh fruits and vegetables in my diet, and the juicer was the primary way I started to do that in the beginning. And it's really helped me to have a greater and higher level of health so that I could make these videos for you guys and so I could do all the fun things in life that I want to do. So I would strongly encourage you guys to select a juicer with a long warranty so you won't have to worry about the juicer breaking. You know, some juicers may have a short 60-day, 90-day, maybe even a year warranty, but think about it. think if you had a car with a 15-year warranty, you just have to buy a car once now, and then for the next 15 years you get to drive the car with no problems. It's guaranteed to work. I mean, they don't do that, but with the juicers, you can get a juicer with a 15-year warranty, and these are it. So besides the pusher, we got the funnel piece, and check it out. What I do like on the funnel pieces on these guys is that the 8007 has a much larger and deeper funnel. I like this a lot because now you're more easily to feed grapes in, for example. If you want to juice grapes, and I recommend juicing grapes with the seeds, they actually juice better because of the hard fiber in the seed. Plus you get some of the nutrients out of the seed. They're known as antioxidants, or OPCs for short. And you can just put a whole bunch in there and then kind of funnel them in there. So I like that they definitely made the screen larger on the Omega 8007. Next we got the juicer end cap. And on both these machines, the end cap is actually fairly similar. As you guys can see, I mean, it's almost like a carbon copy of it, so they really haven't changed this part much at all. Maybe a little bit of the design. Next, one of the main changes that happens is the screen here. So you guys can see the screen on the Omega 8004. They went with a screen that has a stainless steel and then a plastic screen. And then on the 8007, they now went to a stainless steel screen with a stainless steel screen instead of plastic screen. So I definitely like the screen on the Omega 8007 more because it is stainless steel. Also, if you look at this very closely, you'll see that there's actually more screen area. And this is known as a two-stage single auger machine because on the initial crush, some juice is squeezed out and then drops through the first stage screen. Then the produce is worked along the auger, squeeze more, and then more produce is squeezed out on stage 2. As you guys could see on the screen on the top here, the 8007, there's much larger screen area on both stage 1, which is also now stainless steel, which I like more than the plastic. And then you could also see on stage 2, there's more screen area as well. So because of the more screen area, that's probably going to mean a higher yield for you. So Omega definitely did it right. Now the other thing that I can't really show you guys on the screen here is the thickness of the screen. The screen on the 8007 and 8008 has been improved and upgraded over the 8004 and 8006. It's actually now thicker plastic. So this is going to be stronger and it's going to prevent breakage if that should occur. Other than that, pretty much the screens are identical. Oh, last thing I want to point out is if you look carefully on the stage 1 screen, you'll see like this one's actually has square corners and this one's rounded. So what this means is that when you're putting the screen in the machine to assemble it, the bottom part of the screen is always down. This makes it a little bit easier to go in because it's rounded. It'll kind of like better seat in place, whereas on the 8004 machine, it's squared off, so you might have to fumble with it just a little bit more. So yes, Omega definitely taking some suggestions and improving their machines. So next, let's talk about the augers. The augers is the heart of the machine, and this makes the machine work. What happens is, the produce is put in the machine, the auger spins around, it basically chops off a piece of produce, the initial crush, juice comes out, then the auger is spinning at 80 RPMs and produce is shoved down the auger and it gets squeezed out and more juice comes out. So on both these machines, the auger looks to be pretty much identical for all practical purposes. Now these augers are made out of the GE Ultra material. It's 8 times harder than augers on predecessor model machines. So I definitely like that a lot. Now the one thing I want to talk about the auger is these are a black auger, and if you start juicing like carrots or maybe even leafy greens, the auger is going to get kind of a weird orange kind of sheen to it. Don't worry, it's alright, it's not discoloring or anything like that. It's just the carotenoids in the carrots may turn the auger a funny color. If you wash it good enough, it's going to come out, or use like something like one of those magic erasers or something like that. So the last part on these machines is the feed chute or the drum assembly. Let's go ahead and take these guys off for you guys and let me show you guys. So as you guys can see, the drums are pretty much the same. Don't mind the discoloration on the 8004 drum. This is my personal unit that has been used quite a bit, so the color's a little bit off. But in general, that's a little bit darker than the drum on the 8007. Let's see, the feed chute sizes, they're about the same on both machines. They're about 1.5 inches in diameter in a circle. So, yes, these have smaller feed chutes. Other than that, these look to be pretty much the same. The only thing I'd like to say about these guys is the material that they're constructed out of. Omega is constantly improving their machines and trying to make them better based on customer suggestions. The 8004 here, this drum is made out of polycarbonate. And then if we go over to the new 8007, this is the BPA-free Eastman Triton material. So I like that a lot on the new 8007. So that's pretty much it for the machines. I mean, I'll have an upcoming episode showing me juicing in the all-new 8007 and how it specifically works. I mean, all in all, these machines are pretty much going to work the same way for you. I guess before I go, I'd like to go ahead and reassemble the 8007 to show you guys how easy it is to assemble. And also, this will show you the parts that you need to clean. Really simple. We got the main body here. You're going to put that in. And then on this one, you're going to turn it to close. When you're unassembling it or disassembling it, you're going to turn it to open and slide it out. Really easy to assemble and disassemble. Next, we're going to take the auger here. The auger just goes right in. And don't be alarmed if there is a gap between the end of the housing and the auger where it starts. There is a good, 1/4 inch gap there. Next, we're going to take the juicing screen. And then that goes right in the machine like that, nice and simple. Before I go on, I do want to say that the 8007 also includes, like the 8004, one of these guys. It's called a blank plate. So the blank plate allows you to make things like the nut butters, the frozen banana sorbets, pâtés, even things like salsa in the Omega 8007. Really like it a lot. So yes, both machines do have the blank, and actually this seems like a little bit heavier duty blank than on the 8004. Let's see, next we have the end cap here. This screws right on to the end there. And then finally, you guys get the funnel and put it on. And once again, only use the pusher to push your produce in. Some other parts that are included with the Omega 8007 are, of course, the cleaning brush, which is pretty much similar to the cleaning brush on the 8004. And I want to remind you guys, when cleaning your screen, the most important thing to do is clean the juicer right after you're done using it. If you let the produce sit on, cake on, the pulp dries in the holes of the screen, it makes it significantly harder to clean. So what I recommend is you just get this under the sink with some water and get it wet, and then just scrub this out just like this, and you're just going to scrub all the way around, scrub this in like this, scrub it in like that, get this guy in here and scrub the machine out, and this is kind of just like an oversized toothbrush. So you really want to ensure you get all the holes in the juicing screen clean and dislodge the pulp for optimal use. If you don't pay attention and over time pulp builds up in the holes and then they're clogged up, and I like to look it up at the light to make sure I can see through it, then that's going to reduce your yield over time and it's not going to work as well for you. The final parts with the Omega 8007 are these guys right here. These are known as the nozzles. These nozzles are only used for homogenizing. If you have the blank plate that I showed a little bit earlier, they will allow you to make things like extrude pasta shapes with some of these nozzles here. Looks like a linguine style, a spaghetti style, and an angel hair style, and even a flat kind. And then you have these two guys, also like maybe a mochi attachment and different attachment to make different shapes for when you're trying to make peanut butter and whatnot like that. So I definitely like the all-new 5th generation horizontal single auger juicers from Omega, which are the 8007 and 8008. One of the things I hope they would have done with the 8007 are two things. Number one, I wish it would have a larger feed chute. They went ahead and made a brand new juicer with some definite improvements, but by making the feed chute larger, it'll make it significantly easier to feed your produce in. In addition, I hope they make an adjustable end cap. Omega has now also come out with the 6th generation NC800 and NC900 series, which have the larger feed chute and the adjustable end cap. So I hope they introduce these features on the 8007 and even 8008 one of these days soon. So to sum this video up, basically these machines are for the most part identical. There are some slight improvements in the 8007 and 8008. I haven't personally started using the 8007 and 8008 yet to see my personal reviews, but based on the features and how it looks, I would probably choose one of these guys over those guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode learning more about the differences between the Omega 8004, 8006, and the 8007 and 8008. Once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors. This is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and let's get ready to juice off! Rumble, wait, wrong show. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do a juice off comparison between the Bella Neutral Pro juicer and the Tribest Slow Star juicer.